Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of the No Nay Never podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Bromley, and what a week we have to go over. Burnley run riot away at Plymouth. Battering them 5-0, 5 goals, 1 game. What on earth is going on? We're going to hear from regular panellist Tom Whittaker, who's going to tell us his experience and the glory of travelling all those miles on a Wednesday night to see Burnley put on a display. We're also joined by our special guest, Matty from Imagine Not Being Leeds podcast, who's going to give us his views ahead of the game. And of course, we have Dave Statman Roberts, who is going to give us all the stats, facts, hints, tips, everything that you need to know ahead of this fixture. So, listeners, buckle up. Let's go. David, how are you? Have you recovered from Wednesday night yet?
Yeah, the shock of that first half. We weren't expecting that, were we? It had me scrabbling around for stats. When was the last time that Burnley scored 5 in the first half? Fortunately, I have a database that helped me to find that out.
Do you know what? If only our listeners knew that there's a website that they can go on to get that information without everybody in the world in East Lancashire, or at least tweeting Dave after every game going, Dave, when was the last time a keeper scored 2 penalties in one game? Dave, when were we last 5-0 up at half time? So yeah, please don't do that. Stay around to the show because we're going to tell you exactly how you can find that information out for yourself with our very own Google, the best view in football, Dave Statman Roberts. Dave, it's a big game this weekend coming up. Leeds United, a huge championship clash anyway, but with Sheffield United dropping points unexpectedly today, losing 3-0 against Hull, which is, I've always loved Hull. Great side. There's a real opportunity here to make a real statement at the top of the table. Do you know what? It kind of also takes the pressure off the game a little bit, doesn't it? It means that a draw's not the end of the world. And if we do lose, fine, Leeds have probably got themselves a title sewn up there and will run away with it. But it also means that we're still on Sheffield United's coattails for second. It's really helped that today, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. I think it's when we play Leeds United, it's always a tough game. Monday will be no exception. And it'll be interesting to see how we approach it, whether it is a case of being cautious, as we have been quite a bit this season, or whether if they come out at us a little bit more, then we'll do a little bit more. I mean, we're not going to get the same chance, I don't think, we got against Plymouth, but you never know. It might be a more open game and it might sort of might help things. But we will be looking back at some past matches against Leeds United and see how that reflects on us. We've not had the best record against them.
No, we haven't. Well, before we get into that, listeners, let's reflect on that Plymouth game on Wednesday night. Our very own Tom Whittaker went down to the game and he gave us all of the reaction to a fantastic game down away from home, and actually a really well-earned result for those travelling Clarets. So, Tom, let us know how you felt, please. Over to you.
Hello, No Nay Never listeners. Tom here. Just a few thoughts of the Plymouth game. Lucky enough to be one of the travelling few who went down. Yeah, great day out. I can't remember Burnley team ever being 5-0 up at half time before while I've been going home or away. It was quite surreal, really. We've had our problems in front of goal this season. You're expecting us to win, I'd say, just given Plymouth's form and where we are in the table, but certainly wasn't expecting us to score. So I think 3 would have been a bit of a push. The goals were such great quality. There was loads of things in that performance that we've been crying out for. I think the eagerness to get the ball forward quickly, better delivery into the box, more bodies in the box, more people to aim at, a bit of a desire to get another goal when we've just scored, or a desire not to just sit on a 1-goal lead. So that first half performance really was everything we've been crying out for. It was fantastic, and it was just surreal at half time. I don't think I've ever seen us win 5-0 away from home before. I didn't go to the MK Dons game a few years ago, so yeah. And at half time we were just thinking, is it going to be 7, 8, 9? Are we going to break a club record here? Obviously, the only kind of disappointment today was the fact that we kind of took our foot off the gas at half time. you can understand why. We've got a big game coming up on the Monday. The fact that I'm recording this on the Sunday, I should say, so the fact that we took it easy on Plymouth maybe helped them to go up to Sunderland and get a point off them on Saturday, which is a bonus as well. No injuries, no suspensions, nothing like that. So I think, it was a pretty perfect away performance, really, a pretty perfect day out. We had a great time after. The Plymouth fans were very nice, there was no trouble considering we just walloped them 5-0 on their own patch. And it's just a brilliant day. Whether that kind of goal scoring is going to be continued, I'm not sure. Plymouth defensively really were awful. I think that definitely contributed to how easy we found it to score 5. But like I said, the desire seemed to be there a little bit more. The delivery was certainly a lot better. More bodies in the box, that kind of thing. So if we can replicate that in some of these other games between now and the end of the season, it could be very promising. Up the Clarets.
Excellent stuff. Okay, Dave, we have another game. Never mind 5-0 away from home. We've got the Leeds game to preview. We're going to be speaking to our preview fan very shortly. But why don't you kick us off, please, with a couple of stats?
Well, firstly, a quick bonus stat relating to our last game. All of Zian Fleming's 8 Burnley goals to date have been scored away from Turf Moor, including 2 on Wednesday evening, and is the first Burnley player to ever achieve this feat. But we would very much like him to find the net at Turf Moor on Monday evening, please. On to our preview stats, and although Turf Moor is likely to be a sellout for both sets of fans on Monday evening, we're currently limited by the ground's capacity of just around 22,000. However, the record crowd for a match at Turf Moor against Leeds United is almost double the current capacity. Just over 40,000, 40,087 to be precise, were there to see the two teams play out a 0-0 draw. That was in November 1973. That was one of just 2 goalless draws in this fixture, home or away. The other was also at Turf Moor back in October 1956. At the other extreme, the most goals scored in any match between Burnley and Leeds United was 9. That was almost 100 years ago at Turf Moor on Boxing Day 1925. After an eventful first 45 minutes, Burnley led 6-1 at the break. And Louis Page had netted a hat-trick. But despite the visitors pulling another 2 goals back during the second half, the Clarets went on to win the match 6-3.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, Dave. Okay, well, in part 1 of our preview show this week, we speak to our Leeds fan to get their view in what I think they're probably considering a very exciting fixture away at Turf Moor. So let's go ahead, part 1. Welcome to the show, Matty. You are, of course, from Imagine Not Being Leeds podcast. Welcome. It's very lovely to have you on.
Very lovely to be here, Natalie. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So, massive game on Monday night. So let's get the fan view out of the way to start with before we start diving into the rest of the season and technicalities. I'm massively looking forward to this game. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm buzzing, Natalie. To be fair, it's one of the games I've sort of bookmarked since you beat us at Ellen Road. Obviously, the way it's sort of come about now, we're all vying for those top 2 spots, and it's quite tasty up there now. Obviously, we've seen a couple of sides round us drop points, which has been brilliant. But yeah, it's maybe took pressure off a little bit. A point would be brilliant for both sides, I think. But it's still should be a good game of football. I can't wait.
Yeah, but we were talking about this just before we started recording, that Sheffield United dropping points and Sunderland having the weirdest season in the world. I can't quite make my mind up whether they're serious or not. It's like, are you joining this party? Yes, no. What are we doing? But yeah, Sheffield United dropping those points for us. It just means that if we do end up getting beat, then it's not the end of the world, because the second automatic spot is still very much 100%. Up for grabs. A draw's fantastic, and if we win, oh my days! Like I think somebody said to us, I think somebody just was a bit drunk watching the Plymouth game, but if we win 4-0, because that's just what Scott Parker's teams usually, then we do go top. But I think we're right. That's not going to happen. Well, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. It'll either be. I don't think there's any middle ground here, Matty. I think it's either a ridiculously cautious game from both sides, or somebody's gonna, or both are gonna go, you know what? A win here is too important. We're going for this, and then it just becomes an absolute cracker. So let's see. It'll be really good. Let's take you back in a little bit. Let's just give us a little bit of background for our listeners, because of course we've been watching you closely this season and last season, to be fair, with the unfortunate promotion battle last season. But we have been watching this season, and I think it kind of feels like you've been threatening to break away and be the runaway leaders for some time now, and I just haven't quite taken the handbrake off. How's this season been for you since we last caught up with you? How's it been in terms of expectations and attitudes and feels? Has it been frustrating? Has it been exhilarating? How are you feeling as fans?
Well, Natalie, I'm quite a optimistic fan. Always try and see glass half full than empty, to be honest. I know. It's a rare breed. It's a rare breed. But no, it's a lot of sections of the fan base, to be fair, are frustrated at the football, which I'm sure you've got at your place, even though you're still doing well.
We feel that.
We get tarnished with the boring tag quite a bit, which I don't understand, because we are the league's top scorers, which blows my mind.
I don't think we're boring.
No, not at all. But there is definitely sections of fan base that during games, beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0, and we're still getting moans and groans. It's an unusual one. I feel like Farke's maybe just not. I don't know. Maybe he's got an hard job with Bielsa. Those championship days under Bielsa, I feel like everyone's a Bielsa widow, and that football we'll probably never see it again in our lifetime. So I feel like it's an hard one for him, really. I mean, he's averaging over 2 points a game over a season and a half now. 90 points last season, which some Leeds fans don't want to hear, but we still got 90 points. I still got to work most Mondays happy, because I've usually won a game of football. What I will say is a breakaway. It could come if we win on Monday. This could be a turn of it, but every time we get a chance, we tend to slip up. Every time we get a chance, we are at the front of that pack at the minute, but it's really tight. But every time someone drops points, we tend to not capitalise. So that needs to change for us this weekend. So.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think we've had a similar feel for that as well. And somebody summarised it. Forgive me, I can't remember who it was. I think it was somebody on Gab Sutton's show, actually. And I think it was a really eloquent way of putting this. In that it was almost like there's no point winning your big games. There's no point Burnley beating Leeds on Monday night if then we are then going to draw our next two home games against the likes of Derby, Preston, and things like that. So that's very true. So talk me through Farke then, because he's not the most charismatic of managers, and I wonder whether that's people getting his back. Is it more than just the Bielsa problem, do you think?
I don't really know, because for me, I don't think there's a better man for the job. You probably say the same about Parker. He might not be the best on the eye sometimes, but he's proven. And sometimes just to get out of this division, you need someone proven. You can bring someone in from a different division who's not done it before, and you might get lucky. I mean, Sunderland have sort of done that. They're having a good season, but I think tried and tested will win every day for me in this league. And I don't know what it is with him. I think his style can sometimes, like I say, leave fans frustrated. We tend to play with the handbrake on. We scored after 35 seconds at the weekend, and we tend to just take this foot off gas as soon as we get one or two up. We don't push on for that third and fourth, when a lot of times it's there for us because we've got the quality, as you know. We've got a bit of a cheat code when it comes to us squad depth and quality on that bench. And I just feel like now and again, I don't know if it's a players or if it's a tactic or Farke's instruction, but we do take his foot off the gas, and a lot of that is a massive bugbear for a lot of Leeds fans. But like I say, we've scored the most goals and we are top at league. So other than having a bigger lead, I don't really know what more he can do. For me, he's doing a brilliant job. Some people say it's the players he's got and will go up in spite of Farke, which might be true, but he's still there and he's still the one taking training session and putting the side out. I don't know what more he can do, but for me, I'm a big Farke fan. A lot of people question what he can do after this season, but I'm one of them who don't want to think about next season because we're still here now. People look quite, tend to be guilty of looking ahead, thinking, is he a Premier League manager? Maybe not, but he deserves a shot if and when we do get there, in my eyes, and then we assess that then. But right now, I think he takes us up this season, whether it's first or second. So I haven't got a problem with Farke at all. You're on mute. You're on mute. I can't hear you. I think have you muted yourself?
I have muted myself. So I was having some background noise there. Listen,
Yeah, go on.
this is a none and ever podcast. If there wasn't some form of chaos at every single podcast, it would be
Class.
fine. So I was just starting to say then we've got a similar challenge with that in terms of Parker. Parker is a fabulous human being. Just I could listen to him for hours. He embodies everything that I like about a human, the way he conducts himself. He's eloquent, the way he speaks, and he's just, and the players love him. And I would love nothing more than for him to be with us for the next 10 years and bring success and to be part of our family for a long time. And then you look at the table and we're flirting between second and third.
Yeah.
And then you look at some of the football we've been playing and it's like, oh my God, this is mind-numbingly awful to watch. And I think to some degree of this, I think this season we've kind of been asked to sacrifice entertainment for results. And I think that's fine for one season if it works, but I don't think that's got longevity. And I suspect that Barker's probably got a similar thing from that. Like last season, you missed out promotion. I mean, this season you're going to, obviously, but if you were missing out on promotion again this season, I think it would be very, very different. So yeah, I completely get that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Dave, in the now controversial feature of the preview show for this season, I call it the memory match. You call it something stupid. What have you got for? You've selected a specifically good Burnley game, Burnley at home to Leeds. What have you picked for us this time, please, Dave?
Well, I must say, I was trying to mix it up a bit by giving it a different name, but you keep going back to the old one every week. But
what have you called it this week, Dave?
It's No Nay Never Remembers, as it always is this season. Get with the programme.
Oh, memory match. We should put
Whatever.
a poll out in the field. Is it memory match? Is it Nona never remembers? I don't know. Who knows? I don't like change, Dave. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, what have you picked for your memory match that Nona never remembers this week, please?
Okay, Leeds United was still in the Premier League during our last championship promotion season in 2022-23. We did beat them at Turf Moor in 2013-14 and 2015-16, two promotion campaigns, as I'm sure you'll remember. The latter of those was a 1-0 victory thanks to an early goal from Scott Arfield. We're going to focus on the match at Turf Moor from March 2014. There was an early scare when Ross McCormack intercepted David Jones's back pass, but he could only hit the post, and Jason Shackle cleared. But we did go behind in the 27th minute, and it was Ross McCormack who managed to beat Tom Heaton with a header. A long throw from the left was flicked on, and he headed past Tom to make it 1-0 to Leeds United, to the visitors. But the Clarets were able to level the scores before half-time when Kieran Trippier's low cross from the right was diverted past Jack Butland and into his own net by Jason Pearce. The winner, almost inevitably, was scored by that man again, Scott Arfield. After 67 minutes, the ball fell to him inside the box after Ben Mee's cross, and his shot beat Butland at the second attempt to secure 3 vital points. So it finished Burnley 2, Leeds United 1. We were still unbeaten at home, actually, in that season, as we are in this season, but managed to continue that run. And the win increased our lead over third-place Derby County to 10 points. Sean Dyche's Clarets were able to hold on to second place and secure automatic promotion to the Premier League in second place behind eventual champions Leicester City.
Excellent. That's a good memory match, is that one, Dave? I like it a lot. Okay, moving into part 2 of our preview show this week. And before we hear once again from our opposition fan, why don't you kick us off with the second set of your preview stats, please, Dave?
Yeah, despite a 1-0 away win in the reverse fixture at Ellen Road back in September, Burnley finished that match with 10 men after Bashir Humphreys was sent off. This is one of 6 sendings off in matches between the two teams. As well as Kieran Trippier seeing red at Ellen Road in 2012, there have been 4 red cards in matches at Turf Moor, 2 for each side. Hayden Fox was sent off for Leeds United in November 2006, and Frank Sinclair saw red for Burnley in February 2005. The other 2 dismissals were in the same match in September 1974, when referee Ray Tosland had enough of the fighting between Gordon McQueen and Ray Hankin and sent both players for an early bath. And finally, after a hat-trick of home wins for Burnley against Leeds United in 2012, 2014 and 2016, we have failed to win on any of their last 3 visits. In 2017 in the League Cup, we drew 2-2 after extra time, but we failed to progress after the penalty shootout. And then a 4-0 home defeat behind closed doors in May 2021 was followed by a 1-1 draw just a few months later in August 2021. Both of those games, of course, were in the Premier League.
They were indeed. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Dave. Well, part 2 of our previous show, we head back to our opposition van, our Leeds guests this week, to get their further views ahead of that game. Okay, so let's look ahead to this game then. In terms of players and key players, I guess twofold question here. Who do we particularly need to keep an eye out? I know it's a very vanilla question. Again,
No.
But also, have there been any surprise packages in your side this season and players you didn't expect to excel who have, or I guess the opposite, who have underperformed?
I'd say people to watch out for probably the obvious ones right now, which is Manor Solomon and Dan James. As two wide players. I expect both of them to start. You've got Ramazani, who's really pushing for a start now. I think's different gravy, to be fair, but he's got to try and dispossess Manor Solomon on that left-hand side. But great pace. The numbers are through roof, really, in terms of goals and assists. They're really putting them on now. Probably form players in the league, I'd say. I don't know if that's been biased, because obviously I watch Leeds and not many other teams, but I'd say definitely our best players and definitely form. Really hit the form this last couple of months. In terms of players who've surprised me, I'd probably say Brendan Aronson. We brought him back from the wilderness after going out on loan last season, after we got relegated from Premier League. He went to Union Berlin. A lot of fans not too happy he came back. One of those people we've had to give a chance, really, losing Rutter earlier, a couple of days in. Big move to Brighton. Brendan Aaronson's come in. I think we signed him for 27 million quid a few years back, so he should be able to cut it at this level. But I was unsure early on, and he's done really well. His numbers are really good. I think he's on 7 goals. I think he got 3 assists. A lot of talk in that 10 position, saying we need to strengthen there in January, because it's probably the only position that hasn't got like a decent backup. It'd be a case of playing people out of position. But Brendan Aaronson's probably been the big surprise for me. Maybe not for everybody else, but yeah, he's done well. But that our attacking line's really good, even though I don't think we've got an out-and-out 9. Pido's playing up top. He's got 10 goals, which is great, but under Pido, we've got an injured. We've got an injured Bamford, and then we've got Joseph, who's a bit younger, weren't really having the best of seasons. So really, I'd say his wide men are probably our biggest threat.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's quite an interesting. I remember the game at Ellen Road. We were told back then that your front line was going to be a real attacking threat, and we just put in a defensive performance of our absolute lives once we got one ahead, and it was really an impressive performance. I guess looking at that, then, if you do expect especially without having a recognised number 9 in that sense, if you expect this to go quite wide, how's that going to affect the play? How do you expect to play against us? What's the setup going to be?
I'm sort of torn with this. I mean, Leeds don't ever sit for anything other than a win. We don't normally sit in for a draw. We've seen it once this season, early doors, when we played away. We played away at West Brom, and we sort of thought he might go cautious, and you could see in that game we sat for a 0-0 and we got it. We had a few injuries at time and stuff, and it were backs against the wall sort of performance. But I think, I don't know. To be fair, it's hard to call what he'll do. I think he's stupid if he doesn't play to our strengths, and our strengths are control the ball and dominate possession and be a goal threat. We have everyone in this division. We've definitely got the capability of being someone who can put a couple of goals past you. The stats 9. You've only conceded 9 goals. It's actually unreal. I actually can't believe it.
Is that right?
I watched Scott Parker's press conference, and your lads are buzzing with that. It's like a badge of honour, which it should be. You're not scoring as many.
That's the price that has been paid for defence.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd say we've probably got the balance bang on, Natalie, to be fair. We've conceded 19 and scored 59, which is pretty good. I feel like you've got to sacrifice a bit of defence to attack, and I'd say we've probably we've cracked the balance out of everyone in that top 4. You've seen Sheffield United a bit similar to you. They concede more than you, but don't score many. And Sunderland can score at will, but they concede at will as well. I'd say we probably got the balance right. So we're doing something right in that sense for me.
Yeah, no, and I think that's probably why most people are expecting a cracker of a game on Monday, because the games that we've really, really struggled in have been where we've had a very stubborn overly defensive side. The Sean Dyche Burnley, essentially. Now I get it. And now know everybody absolutely hated us in the Premier League for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what it was.
Those low block sides that just come and it's so difficult to break down, nightmare.
We just cannot break down those sides at all. And I've been frustrated with Parker's sides in terms of their ability to just take the handbrake off and just be more aggressive in their approach. On the bigger sides of the division and the sides that play more openly, that's played into our hands, and we've seen a much better game and a stronger game. So I am genuinely hoping that. Okay, Matty, finishes off then. Give us your prediction, and you are absolutely allowed to be biased here. That's your voice. What's your heart telling you and what's your head telling you, or are they the same?
I think it's going to be tight, but I know we start pretty quick at the minute based on the last month or so. I know we had a couple of dodgy results at one at home at Blackburn. We conceded a late equaliser, then Hull, which were a bit of a free one up, and then we threw that away. You'll have seen Elan Melier, which shoot at will, and you'll score goals. But I've got a feeling it's going to be 2-0 Leeds, but I think it's going to be really tight. But I just feel like we've missed a lot of big chances earlier in the season. There's clinical edge haven't been there, but this last month or so, we're not having as many clear-cut chances, maybe 5 or 6, but we're putting 2 or 3 of them away now. So I'm sort of hoping we start fast and we get an early goal. And if that happens, you've got to come out a little bit more. And I think, I'm thinking 2-0, but I could be way off. I've had some of my Leeds fans on my predictions have been saying 2-1 Burnley, so it's definitely not a comfortable prediction in my book. But I'll never back out other than a Leeds win really. But it's going to be tight. I think a 2-0 tight win. I'd say.
Listen, for all the years that we were doing Premier League podcasts, I was still predicting a Burnley win away at Ellen Road. So, and we were 5-0 down at half time. So listen, I'm a massive fan of backing you boys. Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure welcoming you onto the None Ever podcast. Enjoy Monday, safe travels, safe, enjoyable game to all the travelling Leeds fans. Let's hope for a cracker. Let's hope for a clean game. And let's hope for a real top of the table balance. And we will catch up with you again, hopefully around a promotion party. That would be great.
Hopefully. Thanks for having me, Natalie. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Okay, quick final match overview from you, please, Dave. What are the all-important stats ahead of this weekend's game, Monday?
Yeah, we touched on this earlier. Unusually, our visitors currently have more wins than Burnley in past matches at Turf Moor, although we've outscored Leeds United just. The overall record between the two teams in all competitions at Turf Moor stands at played 32, Burnley have won 12, there have been 7 draws, and Leeds have won 13. Those goals were 47 for Burnley and 46 for Leeds United.
Excellent. Okay, listeners, we mentioned at the top of this show that it would be really handy if there was a central database where you could go and get all the stats. If only there was. Well, there is. And as promised from last week, we have updated our graphics for those of you watching this episode on our YouTube channel. Dave, you have, over the good few years, cultivated a spectacular database of Burnley stats. Why don't you tell those listeners who are listening, particularly and through our podcast channel, who don't have the benefit of the visuals, how they get hold of your website, please?
Well, the easiest way is a short link I've created. The short link is bit.ly/ and then it's all in uppercase, Burnley Stats QL. So bit.ly, Burnley Stats QL. That gives you a menu page, and there's about 15 or 16 different reports. You can go on there and look to your heart's content. There's plenty to go at.
Lovely, lovely stuff. Okay, I think we probably just need to finish off, don't we, with referee details, Dave?
Yeah, Josh Smith of Bourne in Lincolnshire will make it a hat-trick of Burnley matches for this season on Monday night. He was in charge when we were knocked out of the League Cup at Wolves back in August, and also for our goalless draw at Middlesbrough in the league in December. His only other Burnley match prior to this season was also away from Turf Moor. That was a 3-0 away defeat at Brentford in the Premier League in October 2023. He's shown 1 red card in those 3 previous games. That was for Connor Roberts in that match at Brentford. And overall, he's shown twice as many yellow cards to Burnley players compared to our opponents, 8 versus 4. We know that Rose's matches can sometimes be feisty affairs, so he'll need to keep a calm head to ensure there's a fair contest between 2 of the best teams in the league, who are striding for that much sought after automatic promotion place, or both places, let's be fair.
Well, yeah, that would be very nice, actually. It's very difficult, really, because I don't particularly have any problems with Sheffield United. I think they're just a nice club, nice fans. We always get on very well with them. Pretty inoffensive, very similar to us in terms of good support for their local, team. But I'd quite like them to go in the playoffs, thanks. I'd like us to go automatic. Obviously, Dave, we heard from our opposition fan about their score prediction. Give me yours. What do you think it's going to be?
I think it might be a slightly more open game. I'm not convinced we're going to keep a clean sheet. I think it might be a 2-1 Burnley win.
Oh, I love it. That's excellent. What do I think it's going to be? I also agree. I think it's going to be an open game. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. Do you know what? 2-1's a really good shout, actually, Dave. I think I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to predict 2-1 as well. Listeners, you know the drill by now. Please, we want to hear your score predictions. Either leave in your predictions in the comments underneath this video, or for those of you listening through our podcast channels, just drop us a line through the usual social media channels. Just search for @NoneAndEver and you will find us. Dave, that brings the end of our preview show. Is there anything else that we would like to mention? I believe we might have a little bit of None and Never news, won't we?
Yeah, we forgot to mention it, didn't we, when we did the last one? We've got a member of None and Never, Charlotte Rigby, who's been appointed as the correct title, the Her Game 2 ambassador for Burnley Football Club.
That's absolutely right. Yes. Sorry, those graphics for those watching on YouTube are terrible. Must do better with the graphics. To be fair, I did them very quickly while Dave was talking. So apologies. Watch that. That's terrible. I've done a screenshot and forgot to crop it, and it doesn't even fit the full thing. And then poor Charlotte's isn't even in. Well, you know what? Listen. It's rough and ready here on None and Ever, and we like it that way. So it's absolutely fine. We're not polished. But yes, you're quite right, Dave. And thank you so much for reminding us of this, because this is something that we are incredibly proud of. For those of you who don't know, haven't read the press clippings, Burnley have become the 76th member of the 92 Premier League and English Football Leagues clubs to partner with Her Game 2. They're essentially throwing their support behind the campaign's ethos of football being a game for all. Let's rid football of misogyny and make it more comfortable and enjoyable experience for our female fans. Now, Charlotte, our own Charlotte, has been the Burnley ambassador for Her Game 2 for a really long time. She's been a season ticket holder for more than a decade and has supported us since she was a child. I think the quote that she left for us when this news was released was as follows: "As a lifelong Burnley fan, I'm so excited to work alongside Her Game 2. Our club and our amazing fans to tackle sexism within sport in order to make turf more an inclusive, safe and welcoming space for everyone to enjoy football." It's great to see the initiatives put in place by the club already following discussion with the female fan base, and I feel that this is a great foundation to build upon when championing women in sport. Charlotte, we are all immensely proud of you for what you've done here. You've worked tirelessly with this campaign, and you are absolutely fitting to be an ambassador for Her Game 2. So congratulations. Well done, Burnley, on getting this initiative come through, and very much look forward to seeing the changes that get brought through. Dave, that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much, sir, for your assistance here this evening, for pulling together those fantastic stats. To our Leeds opposition fan, to Tom for all of their input today, and essentially everybody who has worked hard to make this podcast possible. We will be back on Tuesday, probably, with an analysis show looking back to that Leeds game. And Dave will be back next weekend for the next episode of the preview show. So stay tuned, turn on notifications, hit that subscribe button, and you will never miss an episode. I've been Natalie Bromley. This has been the preview show brought to you by the None and Never podcast. Until next time. The None and Never podcast is brought to you in association with the talkSPORT Fan Network. Our host and editor is Natalie Bromley, and the show is produced by Matt Moss. Our resident statistician is Dave Roberts, and our FPL expert is Adam Dennett. The Analysis Show team is collectively Tom Whittaker, Rich Steele, George Poole, Charlotte Rigby and Adam Dennett. Our music is provided by George Gaskell, and our newsletter team is headed up by Jamie Smith. If you don't already, you can subscribe to our newsletter by visiting nonenever.substack.com. Thanks as ever go to our partners talkSPORT. We are proud to be associated with the talkSPORT Fan Network.